If you want to see what 4 years of driving and being on the road does to a Toyota RAV4 hybrid, or what your RAV4 hybrid could potentially look like when it comes to wear and tear, this is the video for you. All right, so this is the second year of the current generation that we have. Came out in 2019. This is a 2020 limited, if you don't already know, in the pearl white. Now we've seen a couple of changes when it comes to aesthetics since 2020, like these headlamps. We no longer have this style. We have the newer style headlamps that came out in 2022, I believe. For the most part, the rest of the aesthetics is quite similar. We'll go over some changes, but let's see how this one has aged. And please keep in mind, this one has just about 50,000 kilometers driven on it. You can convert that to miles, so it's had a decent amount of driving. And this is Canada, quite harsh weather conditions, both winter and summer. Gets very cold, snowy, icy in the winter, and quite hot in the summer. Now overall, with just a couple small blemishes throughout the exterior paint, this paint has held up pretty well. And I gotta say, for a pearl white that's been out for 4 or 5 years on the road, the color still looks very brilliant, bright, shiny, and glossy. I don't really see much fading or much turning or changing of the color. You'll notice sometimes with some manufacturers, the white on vehicles tends to tarnish and yellow a little bit over time, but I don't really see that here. Let's continue. Taking a quick look inside the wheel well at some of the mechanics and suspension of this RAV4 hybrid, you see a little bit of corrosion, but that's actually quite normal and not bad at all. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Keep in mind, in Canada, we have a good 6 to 8 months of harsh winter conditions, a lot of snow, salt, a lot of dampness. So definitely, I believe these RAV4s are holding up very well. Taking a peek at the rear end of this RAV4 hybrid, again, been on the road for a couple of years already. I don't see any major concerns. Nothing's really faded. Everything looks like it's still intact. The emblems are still in place. They're still straight. Nothing is bubbling or corroding. And actually, towards the rear end of the vehicle, specifically on white vehicles, pearl white or flat white, is when you'll typically notice a couple of orange rust spots that may happen. That's from rail dust and dust in general, debris that get stuck and attached to the paint, and then over time they cause little rust spots. So I'm not seeing that on this RAV4 hybrid, which is another great indication of how your RAV4 hybrid could age. And what's happening underneath the hood? We've got a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain system, similar to what we have currently for 2024, capable of 219 horsepower and 221 pound-foot of torque. And in 2020, it was also capable of towing up to 1,750 pounds. And shortly, I'm gonna put this RAV4 hybrid to the test on a quick test drive, and that's the real indication of how a RAV4 hybrid should or would age. Is it bumpy? Is it noisy? Is it not too smooth? Is it a little bit rough feeling under the pedal? So stay tuned. I'm gonna do that just ahead. Now guys, how does this RAV4 hybrid engine sound? Well, it's currently on right now. Take a listen. Quite quiet, as it should be for a RAV4 hybrid. Now, with all fairness, I'm gonna kick in the combustion engine by putting on the heat or the AC, and then let's see what the engine sounds like. It will be louder, so stay tuned. Let's check it out. That, my friends, is the sound of a very clear and crisp hybrid 4-cylinder powertrain system, and this is what it sounds like with the hood closed. Perfectly normal, perfectly smooth, sounds just like you would expect a RAV4 hybrid to sound after 4 or 5 years of driving. So how has the interior upholstery held up in terms of wear and tear, fading, stretching, creases, wrinkling, scuffing? You see some minimal wear and tear throughout the plastic panels, but the seats themselves look great. Keep in mind, this is Toyota's Softex interior, and it's held up very well, in my opinion. Taking a look at the interior from a driver's perspective, door panel looks to be in good shape, nothing major when it comes to stress marks or wear and tear or any kind of stains. It looks like it has aged very nicely. A couple of small wrinkles and creases towards the left side of the driver's seat, but that's to be expected. In my opinion, this seat looks quite unused for over 50,000 kilometers. All right, stepping into the interior, checking out the infotainment and multi-information display system here. You can see it's a limited, so you got the larger multi-information display system. Now, back in 2020, as I may have mentioned already, these came with the TSS 2.0, not the 2.5. We hope to see TSS 3.0 for 2025 or 2026 Toyota RAV4. But in terms of the tech and the advancement of being able to maneuver certain aspects and customizations of the vehicle, still quite similar to what you see here for 2024 models. Over to the right hand side, you've got a little bit of a different infotainment system when it comes to the multimedia tech. We have been upgraded and updated to Toyota's latest multimedia. That, of course, gives you the wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and cloud-based navigation capabilities and more. Let's check out what the quality is of the backup camera or 360 bird's eye view monitor in this 4-year-old Toyota RAV4 hybrid. Not bad. So you can see here in terms of the image that it has to portray or give you is still quite similar to what we have here currently for 2024, and it's still very legible, not too blurry. Let's check out the reverse camera. So the reverse is a little bit on the pixelated side, but in terms of wear and tear and how the vehicle has aged, I wouldn't say it has to do anything with that. I think it just goes in hand with the fact that this is the older multimedia and the vehicle itself is about 4 years old, but still quite clear, just a little bit on the pixelated side when it comes to the clarity of the image. In terms of the interior wear and tear, like I said, guys, for 50,000 kilometers, this RAV4 has been really holding up very well as expected. Fantastic Toyota quality and reliability. Check out even on the steering wheel here, you see very minimal fading and minimal damages or imperfections, and again, just over 50,000 kilometers. I don't know a lot of manufacturers that, you know, the vehicle's able to age this well. All right, everyone, just taking this 4-year-old pre-owned 2020 RAV4 hybrid for a quick spin, and I've been driving it already for a couple of minutes, relatively low speeds, but I've got to say it drives just like a brand new 2024 would or should. No funny squeaks, noises, rattles, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. The hybrid system drives very identical to the current RAV4 hybrid that we have for 2024. It's still a 2.5 liter, like I previously mentioned, 4-cylinder hybrid engine. So I'm quite pleased with the way this thing has aged. Let's actually test out the reverse camera and backup camera in action, and let's double check those sensors. Not too bad at all. And did you catch the reverse sound for this 4-year-old 2020 RAV4 hybrid? Some customers, viewers, and owners may be annoyed by it, but I actually think it's really cool. Sounds a little bit like a church choir. That is from a speaker, which is actually mounted in the vehicle, usually underneath the hood towards the front of the vehicle, that actually lets pedestrians aware and know that there is a hybrid, potentially silent vehicle in reverse. Check it out. Well, everyone, when it comes to reliability and when it comes to performance and resale, Toyota's definitely where it's at. And you can tell by this video you just watched on this 4-year-old, just over 50,000 kilometer 2020 RAV4 hybrid. It's aged well. It's been a fantastic vehicle, and the resale market and resale pricing of these pre-owned is absolutely fantastic. Now, as I usually say in the Toyota world, 50,000 kilometers for a Toyota, especially a RAV4 hybrid, it's barely been broken into. And I can say that with full confidence because I've seen these with hundreds of thousands of kilometers, and they look just as good and they drive and feel just as good. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take care.